Hi, do you know the meaning of the word egregious? How about the word communal? In today's video, we're going to learn 12 advanced vocabulary words and phrases from a news article. This is an article from The Guardian. Headline reads, Wave of sushi terrorism grips Japan's restaurant world. Hi, and now let's go ahead and get started. First, we're going to read the article together so you can practice your pronunciation. And then we're going to take a look at some of the vocabulary words that we can learn from this article. Okay, so let's read the headline first. Wave of sushi terrorism grips Japan's restaurant world. Okay, now let's read the first paragraph. Pranksters in Japan are posing potential health issues and harming the reputation of the country's famed conveyor belt sushi restaurants. This week, several diners have posted prank videos on social media. The pranks include people licking bottles of soy sauce and chopsticks, and licking their fingers and then touching the sushi on the revolving belt. The incidents have sent shares plummeting in a leading kaiten sushi chain and prompted operators to rethink how they serve their dishes. All right, now let's take a look at the first word. We have pranksters. Prankster. So what is a prankster? So prankster first is a noun, and specifically this is a countable noun, meaning to say you can count them. One prankster, two pranksters, or even a group of pranksters. Now, the meaning of prankster is a person who is fond of playing practical jokes or tricks. All right, let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay, again, it's a countable noun, meaning you can say pranksters, one prankster, two, three, or a group of pranksters. Now, this means it's a person who is fond, who loves to play practical jokes. Okay, now let's take a look at the word prank. So this is a noun, and it can also be used as a verb. So when you say pranks, this is a practical joke or a mischievous act. For example, that incident was a prank. It was just a joke. Or you can ask a question. What kind of prank is this? Or you can alternate it with, what kind of practical joke is this? What kind of prank is What kind of prank is this? Okay, now as a verb, we can use this as a verb as well. So for instance, Mr. Smith was pranked by his neighbors. He was pranked by his neighbors. So see here, you can use this one as a verb. Okay, now let's take a look at the word in the article again. So here we have pranksters in Japan are posing potential health issues and harming the reputation of the country's famed conveyor belt sushi restaurants. So these are people right now who are in Japan playing a joke at sushi restaurants. All right, now let's take a look at some more examples.
James, you can't prank a prankster.
This place against prankster children. That I'm the main office prankster.
Or you may also have heard of this certain idiom, pull a prank on someone. So this is an idiom. When you say pull a prank on someone, you played a trick on someone. So you could, for example, we could say a bunch of teens or teenagers pulled a prank on the town. They pulled a prank on the town. You can also add an adjective before prank. We can say pulled a stupid prank, or pulled a ridiculous prank, or pulled a childish prank. Or you may also use this in this word order. We can say, remember the prank that Cindy pulled last year. Remember the prank that Sydney pulled last year. So this is another way to use it in this word order. Okay, now let's take a look at some more examples.
Pulling hilarious, top-notch pranks has...
All right, you may also have heard of this expression as well. So we also have pull a fast one. What does this mean? So when you say he pulled a fast one on me. Yeah, I'm really, really angry. He pulled a fast one on me. So this means to successfully deceive someone. To successfully deceived someone. For example, you paid him $1,000 for this switch. He completely pulled a fast one on you. So he completely deceived you. All right, now let's go to a vocabulary challenge, synonym test. So let's see if you can answer this. These are all synonyms of pull a fast one, except, is it A, outsmart? Is it B, got the better of you? Is it C, outwit? Or is it D, renowned? The answer is D, renowned. All of these are synonyms or alternatives that you can use instead of pull a fast one. So you can say outsmart, got the better of you, and outwit. All right, let's go to the next word. So we have famed. Okay, famed conveyor belt sushi restaurant. So just in case you don't know what a conveyor belt is, so here is a picture that I'm going to flash on the screen. Okay, so when you say famed, famed is an adjective, and this is something that is known widely. Something that is known widely. For example, I went to Olive Garden to try their famed fettuccine Alfredo. Try. Okay, so I went to Olive Garden. So Olive Garden is a restaurant in the United States, and it's an Italian restaurant. So a couple years back, they took me to this famed restaurant, this very famous restaurant in the United States. So I went to Olive Garden to try their famed fettuccine Alfredo. Here's another example. I want to travel to San Francisco to see the famed Golden Gate Bridge. Okay, so I want to travel to San Francisco, this is a state in the United States, to see the famed Golden Gate Bridge. Okay, now let's take a look at the word in the article again. Pranksters in Japan are posing potential health issues and harming the reputation of the country's famed conveyor belt sushi restaurants. So Japan's famous conveyor belt sushi restaurants, meaning this is one of the many things Japan is famous for. All right, now let's take a look at some more examples.
$100 bounty on the head of famed Syracuse stickman Tim McCracken.
All right, so here's another synonym test. So these are all synonyms of famed, except, is it A, decline, B, renowned, C, well-known, or is it D, notable? The answer is A, decline. So all of these are synonyms of famed, renowned, well-known, and notable. All right, let's take a look at the next word. We have prank videos. Prank videos are practical jokes filmed on camera and uploaded on social media. Okay, so for example, I'm not too fond of watching prank videos. I'm not too fond. I don't like watching prank videos. Or here's another example. There are loads of prank videos on the internet, meaning there's a lot of prank videos on the internet. Or here's another example. So I know of a TikToker and he posts prank videos every day. Okay, every day he posts prank videos on his account. All right, next word we have plummeting or plummet, or the word plummet. Okay, so when you say plummet, it's a verb which means to decrease rapidly in value or amount. So as a verb, we can conjugate this. So in a present participle, it's plummeting. So for example, some fish populations are plummeting because of things like commercial fishing and climate change. Now, the past form of plummeting is plummeted. Plummeted, for example, our sales plummeted this quarter. There are 4 quarters of the year. Again, yeah, so that's quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4. So our sales plummeted. It decreased rapidly this quarter. Okay, so for another example, Company X share prices have plummeted nearly 10% this morning. And obviously, for future tense, this is will plummet. Will plummet. For example, because of inflation, prices will soar. Will soar meaning to go up. Prices will soar, and purchasing power will plummet. Now, let's take a look at the word in the article again. The incidents have sent shares plummeting in a leading kaiten sushi chain, prompting operators to rethink how they serve their dishes. Now, what is plummeting here? What here is decreasing? It is the shares that's decreasing. Now, let's take a look at some more examples.
Its stock is expected to plummet when trading resumes.
Okay, so here's another synonym test. So these are all synonyms of plummet, except is it A, drop, B, collapse, C, plunge, or is it D, ascend? The answer is ascend. So these are all synonyms or alternatives of plummet: drop, collapse, and plunge. All right, now let's read the next few paragraphs. A clip of the most egregious culinary crime, which has been viewed almost 40 million times on Twitter, shows what appears to be a teenager licking the open top of a communal soy sauce bottle and the entire rim of a teacup, which he then places back on a shelf. The video, filmed at a branch of the Sushiro chain in the central city of Gifu, prompted stocks in the restaurant's parent company to plunge nearly 5% on Tuesday. This is sickening. One Twitter user wrote with another, adding, "I can't go to conveyor belt sushi restaurants anymore." Okay, so now let's take a look at the word egregious. Egregious. So what is egregious here? So it is an adjective, which means that something that is extremely bad, it's so shocking. It's shockingly bad. Now, in the form of a noun, so this is egregiousness. And as an adverb, this is egregiously. Okay, for example, let's use the adjective form in an example. So we can say the most egregious offenders should be imprisoned for life. Do you guys agree with that? The most egregious offender should be imprisoned for life. Yeah, do you guys agree with that? Okay, let me know in the comments below. Now, as a noun, so we can use it in this way. So we can say, given the egregiousness of the offender, he should be imprisoned for life. All right. Okay, so here let's take a look at the adverb form. So the criminal, the offender was punished egregiously. Okay, now let's take a look at the word in the article again. A clip of the most egregious culinary crime, which has been viewed almost 40 million times on Twitter. Okay, here the adjective egregious, which means that this is something that is shockingly bad, is describing the noun, which is the crime, the culinary crime. All right, now let's take a look at some more examples.
Actually, it's the most patently egregious martini I've ever tasted.
Shed some light on this most egregious theft of a championship.
All right, now let's take a look at the next word, communal. Okay, so what is communal? Communal is an adjective, which means that something that is shared by all members of a community. Or simply say, for common use. Okay, so this is shared by all members of the community, or simply say for common use. For example, you can use this communal kitchen. Okay, you can use this communal kitchen, meaning to say this kitchen is shared by all members of the community, or all the members of the community, or probably all the residents in this apartment. Okay, so here's another example. This room is a communal area, meaning to say anyone in this community or in this residence can use this room. Or you can also use communal to describe an activity that everyone in the community does. So for example, having barbecue is a communal activity in this neighborhood. All right, now let's take a look at some more examples.
5 communal cards, 2 in the hole.
Okay, now let's have another synonym test. So these are all synonyms of communal except, is it A, common, B, private, C, shared, or is it D, public? The answer is private. So all of these are synonyms or alternatives of communal: common, shared, joint, and public. All right, next we're going to take a look at this word, prompted. Okay, so prompted can be used as a verb or an adjective. As a verb, this means to incite or cause someone or something. Okay, for example, we found evidence prompting further investigation. We found evidence prompting further investigation. The evidence that we found prompted us or incited us to do further investigation. Okay, so here's another example. The recession has prompted who? The consumers to cut back on unnecessary expenses. So the recession, this is a cause. The recession has prompted or incited or caused the consumers, that's us, to cut back or reduce our spending on unnecessary things. All right, now let's take a look at the word in the article again. Okay, so the video filmed at the branch of Sushiro chain in the central city of Gifu prompted the stocks in the restaurant's parent company to plunge nearly 5% on Tuesday. So the video, what prompted the stocks to plunge or to decrease? What prompted the stocks? It's the viral prank video. So it caused the stocks to decrease. All right, now let's take a look at some more examples.
What prompted them to leave?
Analysis. What prompted that response?
Okay, now let's take a look at another synonym test. So these are all synonyms of the verb prompt except Is it A, cause? Is it B, bring on? C, invoke? Or D, joint? The answer is joint. So these are all synonyms of the verb prompt, cause, bring on, and invoke. Now let's try to use this as an adjective. Okay, prompt as an adjective, meaning to say being ready and quick to act. So this is very useful in the business setting. For example, if you're emailing your boss or you're emailing your coworker and they responded very quickly to your email, so you can say thank you for your prompt response to my email. Thank you so much. Another example, you should seek prompt treatment from a qualified healthcare provider. All right, now let's take a look at some more examples.
And it will be televised, so please do be prompt. Thank you.
All right, now let's read the next few paragraphs. The actions have been dubbed sushi terror or sushi terrorism. The incidents have caused the share prices of a leading sushi chain to plummet. Many restaurants have sprung into action and taken measures to combat the pranksters. These include installing security cameras and providing disinfected eating utensils. Japan's kaiten sushi restaurants are ubiquitous in Japan. They offer good quality, inexpensive sushi in an informal, casual environment, and they are usually spotlessly clean. All right, now let's take a look at the word dubbed. Dub. So what is dub? This is a verb, and there are several meanings of dub. Let's go to the first meaning. Meaning number 1. It is to call by a distinctive title or nickname, which is this meaning. So the actions have been dubbed or to call or called sushi terror or sushi terrorism. It was given a nickname. Here's another example. Fans dubbed her, like the pop star, for instance. Fans dubbed her as the queen of pop. Queen of pop music. So let's say it's Britney. Fans dubbed her, Britney, as the queen of pop. So here's the other meaning of dub. So meaning number 2, it is to confer knighthood on someone. Very common back in the medieval days. So for example, the king will dub him, For example, the king will dub him Sir Philip. And the third meaning of dub is to add a soundtrack, and especially a dialogue in a different language. For example, this movie was dubbed in English. This movie was dubbed in English. So let's say the original film was in Spanish, but they added a soundtrack that is in another language, English, so that native English speakers can understand what the movie is about. Okay, so here's another example. For me personally, I don't like watching dubbed films. I prefer to watch it in its original language, but of course with subtitles, because I cannot understand if it's in another language. Okay, now let's take a look at the word again in the article. So the actions have been dubbed sushi terror. So here the action was nicknamed sushi terror. All right, next word we have sprung into action. Okay, sprung into action, this means to begin doing something or become active suddenly and very quickly. So in the article, many restaurants have sprung into action and taken measures to combat the pranksters. Here, the restaurants began doing something as quickly as possible to fix the situation. All right, now here's another example. We have a presentation today. We are prepared and ready to spring into action. Okay, so we are ready. We're all pumped up and ready to spring into action. All right, now here is another example.
That phone call comes in to wake us up. We spring out of bed, spring into action.
All right, next word that we're going to learn is to combat. Okay, to combat can be used as a verb and as a noun. Combat is a noun. To combat, we can use this as a verb. So in the article, it says that many restaurants have sprung into action and taken measures to combat the pranksters. Here, it is used as a verb, which means to take action to reduce something bad. So as a verb, you mean to take action to reduce something bad. Here's another example. The government made a tremendous effort to combat smuggling. So the government made a huge or tremendous effort to combat smuggling. Okay, now here is another example.
You can understand how that will expand our ability to combat them.
Now as a noun, combat means fighting between armed forces. Okay, for example, many soldiers died in combat. All right, the next word we have ubiquitous. Okay, ubiquitous. Okay, when you say ubiquitous, okay, ubiquitous is an adjective. It comes from the noun ubiquity. So when you say ubiquitous, this is something that is present and is found everywhere, meaning to say it's famous. For example, Korean food is now ubiquitous on the streets of Toronto. Korean food is now ubiquitous on the streets of Toronto, which means that it is present and is found everywhere on the streets of Toronto. Now in the article it says Japan's kaiten sushi restaurants are ubiquitous in Japan, which means that these restaurants are common and present everywhere in Japan. All right, now here is another example.
Mediocrity is the elephant in the room. It's ubiquitous.
Before the success of the ubiquitous human-sized police robots, there was a bigger bad boy on the block, the moose.
All right, now let's read the last paragraph. Some industry analysts are saying sushi terrorism poses a threat to the future operations of the eateries. One egregious video clip has been viewed 40 million times and has sparked copycat clips. The chain targeted by the prankster is filing a civil lawsuit against him and is claiming compensation for damages. The Guardian newspaper reported that there is a lot of outrage on social media from Japanese people who believe the pranksters are showing contempt for the country's high standards of hygiene. All right, now let's take a look at the word sparked. So it sparked copycat clips. So sparked can be used as a noun and a verb. Here it is used as a verb. Okay, so as a verb, it means to stir into an activity. It is to stir to an activity. Okay, so as a verb, it means to stir or to incite. Okay, for example, despite the score difference, she managed to spark her team to victory. All right, now as a noun, this simply means a luminous light. Now it's your turn. To activate these new vocabulary words and phrases that you learned today, try to use them in actual conversations. I suggest that you try to join a conversation group to practice speaking with other English learners, or find a language exchange partner and practice speaking via Skype or Zoom. Or you can use a free language app that you can practice with other native English speakers. Opportunities are endless. And if you're interested, I also offer a one-on-one English conversation lesson via Zoom. I give a 45-minute trial lesson for €2. A trial lesson is a great way for us to learn more about each other and to help you decide if this is the right course for you. It is also a great way for me to assess your current English level and get an idea of what you may need help with. And that is it for today. Thank you so much for learning English with me, and don't forget to connect with me on all my other social media accounts. I have my private Facebook group, and this is my Instagram. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.